Hello, my friends. This is Rosa. Today we continue to study about the Shema. Hear the silent crises in the church.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha.
Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad.
Shema Israel, Shema Israel, Shema Israel, Shema Israel.
Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael. Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh Eloheinu,
Our hearts have just been moved and our souls stirred by the powerful Shema song, majestically calling us to make our allegiance to Yahweh our God, the one and only God. This song is beautifully composed by my dear sister and beloved co-worker, Helen Chang. Ever since she came to know Yahweh, our God, is one, and that He is the only God, the Shema has become her anthem, her guiding call to listen and to obey. While the Shema was a daily prayer for the Israelites, the Shema was more than just a personal devotion. The Israelites would gather together collectively as God's people to declare their allegiance to God by praying the Shema in one voice. The Shema is a foundational verse in the Old Testament. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. Many Christians believe that this verse applies only to the Jews and not to them. Well, let's examine what the Bible truly teaches. Does Deuteronomy 6:4 hold significance for Christians under the New Covenant? Jesus himself declares the Shema as the most important commandment in Mark chapter 12, verse 29. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. As we saw in last week's lesson, the Lord in this Mark passage refers to Yahweh. Jesus is saying the same truth in Deuteronomy 6:4. Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. Jesus affirms this is the most important commandment for his followers. Yet, as I reflected on this truth, one question weighed heavily on my heart. Why is it that the commandment that Jesus declared as the most important one, not central to the life of the church today? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The Shema, the very command Jesus called as the most important, is missing from our worship. It's not in our prayers and rarely proclaimed in our churches. Today we face a sobering reality. The Shema is largely absent from our churches today. When was the last time you heard the Shema prayed in your church? Have we, by neglect, treated the most important commandment as irrelevant to our Christian faith today? This is not just an oversight, this is a crisis. The crisis we face today is that the Shema, the most important commandment Jesus declared, is neither declared in our churches nor incorporated in our prayer lives. This absence raises a crucial question. Have we neglected the weight of this divine command? Or worse, have we replaced it with something less? Perhaps we have not quite understood the word Shema here. Well, today we'll look at the weight of our call to hear, Shema. We know that the Hebrew word for hear is Shema. Now we must ask, is this a past instruction issued only once for ancient Israel, the people of God? To answer this question, we need to dig deeper into the grammatical structure of the verb hear, Shema. Additionally, we'll also examine the Greek word used in the New Testament. The Greek word for hear is Akoue. By analyzing the meaning and grammatical structure of these words, we can gain a better understanding of what it means to Shema in Hebrew, Akoue in Greek, or hear in English. In the Hebrew lexicon, the word Shema means to listen attentively so as to obey in action. It's not just about hearing words, but internalizing and acting upon them. In the Greek lexicon, the word Akoue carries a similar meaning. It is to hear, to understand, to give heed to, and obey. There's the additional understanding of giving heed to. In Jesus' teachings and parables, he often gives warnings and often ends with the phrase, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." To hear is a spiritual call to attention, truly perceiving with understanding and obeying his messages, especially when they are warnings to us. The first time it occurs is in Matthew chapter 11, verse 15, when Jesus answers the question about John the Baptist. After the explanation, he said, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Then in Matthew, at the conclusion of teaching a parable, In Matthew 39, he says, "He who has ears, let him hear," is at the conclusion of the parable of the sower. And then in Matthew chapter 13, verse 43, is the conclusion of the parable of the wheat and darnel. He says, "He who has ears, let him hear." In Mark chapter 4, verse 23, at the end of the parable of the lamp under the basket, "If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." In Luke chapter 14, verse 35, the warning of salt, if it has lost its taste, how can it be restored? At the end, he says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Also, at the conclusion of the 7 messages to the 7 churches in Revelation, this phrase, "He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." This phrase is repeated 7 times. It's a call to really listen, to heed to the warning, and to repent, to respond with obedience. And then one more time in Revelation chapter 13, verse 9, "If any man has an ear, let him hear." This is spoken in the context of talking about the Antichrist, the first beast. So the word Shema begins with a powerful call to hear. Whether it's Shema or Akoue, it is not just ordinary hearing the words. The hearing is not passive, but it's urgent and pressing for us to respond because it's a matter of spiritual life or death. The Shema is a summon to awaken us, to listen with full attention, and to respond with unwavering obedience, declaring absolute allegiance to Yahweh alone. Now that we have a better understanding of the meaning of the word here in Hebrew and Greek, let's look at the grammatical structure of these words. The Hebrew word Shema in Deuteronomy 6:4 is in the Kel imperative form. Kel is the simplest and most common verbal stem in Hebrew, often indicating a clear and a direct action, leaving no room for ambiguity. The imperative expresses a command directly from God, requiring immediate and unwavering obedience. So the Shema in the Kel imperative form is not merely suggesting Israel to listen. It is a call to immediate submission in obedience to Yahweh as the one true God. In the Mark passage, the Greek verb here, Akoue, is in the present tense, imperative mood, and active voice. The present tense indicates an ongoing or continuous action. The Shema is not recited just once and forgotten, but a lifelong practice to be internalized and lived out every day. The active voice means that the listener is not passive. We are not to be bystanders. The Shema requires active participation and total involvement. The imperative mood is a direct order and authoritative command that we must obey. So in both Hebrew and Greek, the grammatical structure conveys a command that demands immediate and active obedience. Let's circle back to the 2 original passages of the Shema. We've explored both the Greek and Hebrew lexicons, examined their meanings, and analyzed their grammatical structure. In both languages, the nuance remains the same. So as we conclude, let's remember that Shema is timeless. The Shema is not just a command for the Old Testament Israel, but a divine instruction also for Christians under the New Covenant. The Shema is meant to be continually followed by God's people, generation after generation. So we must understand that the Shema is not merely a historical instruction, but a living divine command, one that remains deeply relevant today for all followers of Jesus. So let the Shema become our lifestyle. It's a call to daily, moment by moment, to obey Yahweh alone as our God. So if we remove or sideline the Shema from our churches, we silence the most important commandment that Jesus proclaimed. Does your church pray the Shema? Do you hear the Shema being prayed in your congregation? Or have we mistakenly assumed that the Shema is only relevant to the Jewish people? Could it be that today's church is losing its witness and spiritual power because we have failed to obey the greatest commandment?
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Eloheinu.
I'm Rosa. Let us heed the call. Hear, O Israel. Let us obey the most important commandment and proclaim with one voice and conviction in our churches. Hear, O Israel. Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one.